Good morning. All right. I'm calling to order at 8:30 the Planning and Zoning Commission Chair Meeting of Friday, February 21st, 2025. And we have applicant and staff here, as well as Piper as our clerk. Is there anyone online for public comment?
No.
No. Okay. So we'll proceed to the public hearing item. Project title is Lot 7 and 8, Block 20, West Telluride Addition, Minor Subdivision Lot Line Adjustment. Summary consideration by the Planning and Zoning Chairperson of a minor subdivision per Land Use Code Section 6-403.B to adjust an interior lot line. Legal description, Lot 7 and 8, Block 20, West Telluride Addition according to the plat. Recorded May 1st, 1996 in Plat Book 1, page 2043. County of San Miguel, State of Colorado. No address has been assigned yet. It's in the Accommodations 2 zone. Laurel Langmaid Living Trust is the owner and Ron Berkowitz Design is the applicant. Staff representation is Kristen Clothier, Director, Historic Preservation and Planning. So, Kristen, you want to introduce this? Please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I am going to share my screen, so give me just one moment. And Piper, I'll have to ask you to give me permission to share my screen.
Goodness, I'm sorry, it's awful early in the morning.
Not to worry. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you.
Do you have another meeting after this with the HARC chair?
We do.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you so much, Chair Dye. This is a minor subdivision lot line adjustment request for lot 7 and 8, block 20 of the West Telluride Addition. Overall, it's consideration by the P&Z chair of a minor subdivision per LUC section 6403B to adjust interior lot line between lots 7 and 8, block 20 WTA, San Juan Village PUD. The criteria for your decision today, the provisions of the land use code require compliance with the following. Compliance with the subdivision regulations and the subdivision design criteria contained in section 6408 of the land use code. Compliance with the streetscape design standards and construction specifications, and consistency with the Telluride master plan. So you have reviewed the detailed packet, and I'm just going to highlight key elements of it, and then I will be available for questions as well if you'd like to explore any of the other aspects. So here's a map of the property, and right now, so it's located on the north of, hang on one second, let me just do this here. Located on the north side of West Colorado Avenue, south of Telluride High School, soccer field, and west of the Telluride Hotel. This is sort of the vicinity map to give you the bigger picture. So the zone district is accommodations 2. And it's outside the Telluride Historic Landmark District, and there are no historic structures in the immediate vicinity. So just very brief background, high level. The lots are subject to the San Juan Village Planned Unit Development originally granted by the Planning and Zoning Commission on February 23, 1995. The development agreement recorded with the final PUD subdivision establishes the uses, building heights, site coverages, setbacks, and minimum and maximum number of dwellings. And the applicant, Ron Berkowitz, on behalf of the owner, is seeking to adjust the interior lot line with the intent of developing the lots. So a few additional details. The PUD establishes that a minimum of 1 dwelling and a maximum of 3 dwellings can be placed on lot 7, and a minimum of 3 dwellings and a maximum of 4 dwellings can be placed on lot 8. However, the current design of lots establishes the higher density on the smaller of the 2 lots. By shifting the lot line eastward by 96 feet, lot 7, with the allowable lower density of up to 3 dwellings, will decrease in size from 3,824 square feet to 2,5 139 square feet, while Lot 8, with the allowable higher density of up to 4 dwellings, will increase in size from 3,458 square feet to 4,743 square feet. Upon approval, the applicant intends to seek approvals from HARC to construct on the reconfigured lots without seeking changes to the PUD. So here's the overview of the PUD in full. And you can see the 2 vacant lots to the west. The staff analysis is that the applicant is requesting the relocation of the interior lot line to more reasonably accomplish the intended densities established by the San Juan Village PUD. Lot 7 was created from the earlier alignment of the former Taylor Street. The lot reflected the same width of the roadway of 50 feet, and there are additional details, as you saw in the staff memo, pertaining to that adjustment. Lot 7 was platted as 3,823.72 square feet, while the adjoining Lot 8 was platted as 3,458.11 square feet. And the request to adjust the location of the lot lines is reasonable based on the prescribed PUD densities. Lot 8 will increase again to a size of 4,743 square feet for the PUD maximum of 4 units and a minimum of 3 units, while Lot 7 will decrease to a size of 2,539 square feet for the PUD maximum of 3 units and a minimum of 1 unit. This is the survey, and I'm sure the applicant will get into more detail on this piece. And so again, just in summary, we have the 2 vacant lots. The development agreement set all the specifications for those lots, including the maximum and minimum number of dwellings. And we have the density that has been previously established through the PUD. The PUD has been amended 4 times, and this is just a minor lot line adjustment that doesn't require an amendment to the PUD. So he's going to adjust the lot line. That's his request. And this is sort of the summary of staff opinions on the matter, and we fully recommend approval of the minor scale subdivision, adjusting the interior lot line based on the findings set forth in the staff memo dated February 3, 2025. And the applicant meets the applicable requirements, purpose, and intent of the Telluride Land Use Code. The application is consistent with the subdivision regulations and the subdivision design criteria contained in section 6408 of the Land Use Code. And the application is consistent with the streetscape design standards and construction specifications. And the application finally is consistent with the Telluride master plan. So this minor scale subdivision requires a determination by the P&Z chair. And there's a proposed motion in your staff memo, which is written here, which I can bring back up if you would like later on in this process. So I'm available for any questions. I tried to keep it succinct in terms of the information you need, but lots more detail in the staff memo. And I'm sure the applicant will provide additional thoughts on why this request is coming forward today.
Okay. I do have a couple questions for you. So
Sure.
the lot line, when you wrote this, you said by shifting the lot line eastward, we're actually shifting it. The request is to shift it west.
Sorry,
Right?
that
No, I
that
just
is
want that for the record.
for
Yes.
the record. I appreciate.
I can ask that later.
Yes, no, I
I need to
appreciate
address
that.
it to her. Sorry.
And no, I do appreciate that. When Ron drafted the staff memo,
Yeah.
neither of us picked
He's
up on
with
that.
us.
So thank
Who
you for
knows?
that. And I know
Okay.
he was in a transition time at that moment.
Yeah.
So I should have caught that though. And thank you for raising that. And
No worries. Another question I had, just the basic question, why do you think it was planted this way? If they,
I don't
is there
know.
anything in the record that gives you a hint?
There is nothing that provides clarity, and it seems, again, based on the staff recommendation and sort of how we have thought through the potential development of these parcels, it seems logical to have the larger lot size match up with what the PUD constraints are for the density and number of dwellings on that parcel. And I think it, as the applicant will speak to, it will allow for a better design of those parcels. And that's something that we're not addressing today. That will come up later through HARC. But I think it does provide a better outcome ultimately for these projects, quite likely for these parcels, because the current constraints are reversed to what you would think they would need to be based on those dwelling unit limitations.
Okay, and then as part of the replat here, I guess, we need to be sure and specify the units assigned to each. And is there any difference in typical setbacks?
Oh, I hear what you're saying. So the PUD itself specifies all of the details pertaining to the setback, the number of units per lot. All of that is already established. And so the only decision you're making today as P and Z chair is whether or not to approve the lot line adjustment, the minor lot line adjustment in this instance. Nothing is going to change in terms of the PUD, and the applicant is not requesting a PUD amendment, merely that lot line adjustment, but to stay within the constraints of each of Lot 7 and Lot 8's specified constraints in that PUD.
Okay, and just for the record, Lot 7 was originally platted the larger one, right?
Yes,
And given the only 1 to 3 units. But lot 8 is the smaller configured lot, and it has stipulated 3 to 4 units max, right?
yes,
So the units, even though the lot line changes, will still be 1 to 3 on lot 7
correct.
and 3 to 4 on lot 8.
Correct.
Without any other.
No
Correct.
other changes
Okay.
whatsoever.
Okay, let's see. This it's quite a history here. Let's see what else. My other questions, I think, are related to Ron. So
Great.
great, thank you, Kristen. So
Excellent.
Ron, do you want to?
Yeah, Ron Berkovitz of Berkovitz Design. Let's see. So this whole idea kind of came up. We had a HARC work session back in I guess December, and
Work session with,
a HARC.
oh, with
work
Hart,
session, yeah.
okay, very good.
Yeah. And one of the HARC board members said, well, it's a shame that you know, the smaller lot isn't the west lot, and because then the massing would work out better, more stepping up. Okay, what you may not be aware of is that the height, the building height allowed is lowest on the westerly lot, which was the bigger, and then kind of an intermediate height, 30 feet, is the easterly lot, and then the hotel lot, which is a 35-foot lot. So massing wise, it wasn't working out as nicely as I would like. And the board member mentioned, and I'm like, well, gee, yeah, that's too bad. And then Kristen and Ron Barles and I had a brief conference relative to the density issue, because I was proposing only 2 units on the easterly lot, and that was not in conformance because there was a minimum of 3. The 3 on that. And I said, well, it's the smaller lot, and then Ron said, I've looked into this, and I was actually listening in on your HARC work session, and I think we can move it pretty easily without a lot of problem. I said, wow, that's great, let's do it. So since then, we've been working on the design, addressing the HARC board members' concerns, and it just works out much better. And I do have a on my iPad that I could email someone here. I do have a rendering of showing the massing and how it works out with the new configuration. So yeah, and then the other thing we were looking at is, I said, well, Ron, can we change the density? Do I really need to do 3? Can I make it 10? Can I downzone? He goes, no, that's going to require a PUD subdivision.
I can use ChatGPT to answer that.
No.
You can enable.
Where'd that come from?
Hush up.
I've never heard that before, sorry. I be careful what I'm saying.
I know, they're listening everywhere, every time.
So anyway, yeah, that would have been a much bigger ordeal and procedure to get it would have been a full board change to get the density change just for the one unit. So
here we are.
here we are.
Okay. Just to clarify the units. Thank you, Kristen, for your clarification. But Ron, on lot 7, then, are you proposing one or two one or two?
Units.
Two units on 2, and then 3 on lot 8 if it was reconfigured.
Yes.
Okay. And let's see, I'm looking at your application. That's what you mentioned parking accommodated below the structure,
Yes.
but we've got a groundwater issue. Is that right?
No, it's not. There's not a groundwater issue, but there is a floodplain issue. So,
Okay.
yeah, but that's been preliminarily reviewed by Sam, the
Okay.
administrator.
Good.
And I would suggest, I'll just step in for a moment. I
Yep.
would suggest that in this hearing, we keep the focus narrow to the minor
Right.
lot line adjustment. There will be, of course, many more steps in the review
Yes.
process and, application submission to HARC, et cetera. So,
Okay.
I would, and again, and I
Yeah.
think with the renderings as well, let's keep this focus just on that lot line adjustment, and then, we'll bring that towards HARC.
Okay, that's fine.
Just
I appreciate that.
range. Yes.
Well, I prompted the question mostly because he brought it up in his
Absolutely,
application.
absolutely.
So I just wanted to clarify if there was something to clarify for the record,
Excellent.
what that condition was. Same with the town water removal system. So I wasn't sure what that was, but I know it doesn't necessarily pertain to us, but I wasn't sure what you were referencing. So
Right.
that will be dealt with later. Again, Ron, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, when in Kristen's presentation or narrative, she mentioned moving it eastward. And then the footage that it was moving was not correct in what you mentioned there as well.
Oh
So-
dear. So I can say that
Speak up a little bit.
I can say that we had a recent staff transition,
Yes.
and I know that
And
Ron had prepared the staff memo prior to his
like a
exit.
couple hours
Um,
before.
Well,
Because I was on the
so-
phone with him.
so I realize, and it was posted, and so I can say that I relied on that information, but I can go back and clarify, or perhaps for the record, why don't you clarify?
Well, let me just clarify that the
would-
lot line moves to the west as depicted in the mapping, the new replat mapping.
Right,
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
Okay. So setbacks, there isn't any request to change what the setbacks would have been for either?
No, it's still 3 feet.
Okay. And any easements I see are retained? Is that what your intention is?
Yeah, we haven't changed anything on the easements.
Okay. All right. So I don't see any public, just to clarify.
We do have one member of the public.
Okay,
But he doesn't have his hand raised. You might just say if anybody has a public comment, raise their hand.
hello out there in Wi-Fi land. If you have a comment you'd like to make, this is the time. We have opened it to public comment on our agenda.
Nobody raised their hand.
Okay, so we will not having public comment, there's no rebuttal necessary, so we will end the public hearing. And I will deliberate. Looking at this lot, it is a very prominent location in the west end of town. It's what you see when you come in, almost one of the first things you see when you come into town. And you're looking at it for a very long time. Bus stop is in front of it, and right now there are a large grove of trees that shield visual from the public to the hotel Telluride, which serves both properties well for privacy as well as visual impact. There was mention of an open space parcel that was not identified on the original plat that I saw. I assume that that's the transit parcel, but to be that as it may, this is not changing the density. It was always platted with the intention of development. And the smaller configuration on the smaller lot to the larger lot, larger units, makes logical sense to me as well. It does meet the stipulations for motion. For findings by staff, applicable codes and master plan reference, streetscape design standards, etc. So I move a minor subdivision adjusting the interior lot line based on findings set forth in the staff memo dated February 3rd, 2025. This motion is based on evidence and testimony provided at a public hearing held on February 21st with such notice of such hearing provided as required by the Telluride Land Use Code. All right. Are you here for something else?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Perhaps adjourn the
you.
meeting?
Yes.
Is officially adjourned?
Okay. Yeah, one comment to you, Ron. Whatever you can do to preserve the mature trees would be appreciated, I think. Just as an aside.
I think.
And then we will,
I think you've made your decision and we probably should close the hearing at
okay,
this
I've
point.
closed the hearing.
Okay.
I've made my motion,
Great.
making some comment, and I can make that afterwards. So we'll
Okay.
adjourn and I'll talk to you later.
Great.
We're done.
Thank you.
If we're offline, can I
Yes,
discuss that with you?
Yes.
The trees that are there
Thank you.
are
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the chair meeting of Friday, February 21st, 2025, 9 a.m. This is a hybrid meeting at Rebecca Hall. This is a reminder, the purpose of HARC is to preserve, maintain, and enhance the historic character. I'm going to talk about that today. Historic character and scale, the architectural integrity and cultural resources of the town and the historic landmark. Present from staff is Erica on?
We do have Erica, yes.
Yes, Erica, Darren, Kristen, Piper. Thank you for your support. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Non-agenda, okay. I don't see anybody out there. Okay, we will move to the public hearing item. The first public hearing item, you want me to read it in the record and then read okay. It is at 369 East Galena, CA number 3, continuation from December 20th, 2024 and January 17th. HARC chair meetings, consideration amendment to CA 1039-399 that does not constitute a vested site-specific investment plan per land use code 7203B3D3. Legal description is lot 2, block 37 at 369 East Galena. It's a residential district. Owner is 369 East Galena Avenue. LLC applicant Mike Balzer of Tommy Hine Architects, staff member Erica Jensen, and this will be continued without discussion to the March 19th chair meeting. No objections, I guess.
Very good.
Okay. Next is the SAM remodel. Some. And it's consideration of an amendment to the CA 12106 that does not constitute a vested site-specific plan per land use code 7203B3D3 at Lot B, Block 3, West Telluride Edition, located at 427 West Columbia. It's in the historic residential district. Owner is Bod Sam and East Cummings architect. Eric Cummings is the architect and staff member Darren Candelaria.
Right. Thank
Darren?
you, Mark. This is for the consideration of a CA amendment for 427 West Columbia.
Could you speak just a little more in the mic? I couldn't hear you.
Sure. The applicant proposes replacing an original feature of the building, the railing above the entry roof. This feature has been verified as original from historic photographs. Not only this, but an accurate reconstruction of the element is proposed. Staff finds that this complies with the design guidelines and therefore recommends approval. And thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that extensive, in-depth report.
Thank you, everybody. I will.
And I have no
see you
more
later.
questions. So we'll go ahead and hear from the applicant if you want to add on.
The applicant.
Go ahead and read your name and then in the
I'm
record.
Scott Landefeld. I work with E. Cummings Architect. Thank you for the approval. Have a great weekend.
Well,
Wow.
That
You know,
is so easy.
That sounds like kind of one of the past elections not too long ago.
Oh, whoa.
Well, let me see.
Yeah, so the client's proposing to reconstruct this as shown in the historic photos I provided.
Yeah.
You know, this was the Barn Hills house, and the Barn Hills did a really good job of maintaining the historic character of the house, inside and out. And the new owners are sort of following suit and would like to restore it to what we see here in these photos that I don't have a date on.
I got him.
Based on the trees, I'm saying this was a long time ago. So those trees are much larger now.
Well, I bet my life that it was between 1878 and 1913,
I would agree
according to
with
the
that.
Sanborn maps. Okay, well, I commend you for trying to stick to the architectural integrity or the original architectural integrity. I have one question because we were talking about strategic planning yesterday for our HARC board. Was there any famous person that ever lived here that might be recognized with a plaque someday, you know, that this was the home of blah, blah, blah? Do you know any history beyond the owners? I'm just,
I know the Cornell students. This was the first house in town that had electricity.
well, that might be worth noting. Wait a minute. Not
It
what, you
was-
sure?
Wait, hang on, let me ask my
I don't want to take a lot of time, but
history.
first
It
house?
was L.O. Nunn.
When? This was Ellen Nunn's house? Well, even if it wasn't first, Ella Nunn's house is worth recognizing, so.
I'm gonna have
This
to
is
buy it now.
also, Mark, this is a local landmark.
Oh, well, it already is, but
Yeah.
there's no plaque.
There is a plaque.
Well, then I rest my case. Okay. I don't have, any-
Erica,
I don't have any
Yeah.
questions. Anybody in the audience, have any comments or question or would like to speak? Okay, seeing none. I think it's pretty straightforward. I concur with staff, so I move to approve the CA amendment of 427 West Columbia based on the findings of the staff memo dated February 21st, 2025. This motion is based on evidence and testimony. Provided a public hearing held on February 21st, 2025, and notice of hearing provided as required by the Telluride Land Code. And the revised plans incorporating the conditions of this approval should be submitted within 60 days or it becomes null and void. The rest as written. Thank you very much.
to everybody, have a great weekend.
Okay. 3 cases, 5 minutes. Okay, next and last is the project at 236 North Fur. It's consideration of amendment to the CA 1070 that does not constitute a vested site specific development plan per land use code 7203B3 D3. It's lot 14, block 24. It's at 236 North Fur. Walk by there every day. Historic residential district. Owner Camp Todd LLC. Applicant, I pronounce that, Sante Architects. Staff member Erica Jensen. Erica, good
Great.
morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I do not have a presentation this morning. I think the application is fairly straightforward, and I know Peter and Rachel have a number of photos they would like to show you. Staff is elevated this. They were not comfortable approving it because the design guidelines are pretty clear. If the side yard setback is less than 5 feet, that snow guards or snow clips are needed. They had original approval on the original CA to put in snow clips because the setback was less than 5 feet. The roof has been done and the snow clips were not installed. And now the applicant is coming back and asking that they not be required to install them. And staff was not comfortable approving it, so it has been elevated to you. And I'm happy to answer any questions before we hear from Peter and Rachel.
Well, thanks a lot. It's gotta be elevated to me. Let's see. I guess I don't really have any question. The guidelines say what they say.
Yeah.
But I'll look forward to the photos and listening with an open mind to the applicant. So, go ahead, Peter.
Peter Sante Architects, for the Charlton family. Here with Alan Rana, who's our general contractor, as well, and has lived in town. Grew up here, has some history. This is a historic house. HARC approved a restoration or renovation to this property in recent years, as Eric has mentioned. There is a long history. I don't know for how many decades, but in my known history and for storing snow on this south side of Galena. There are no sidewalks. We have sort of reviewed the streetscapes. It's a pretty casual, soft edge for street right-of-way to private property. Town stores snow in the winter where we want to store our snow and let it come off the roof as opposed to paying people to shovel it and then maybe move it. We don't have a fence. We don't have sidewalks. There's quite a bit of sort of background sections and old photographs and town maps to reference here, Mark. But I understand staff that the code says what it says, but this is a home that has history putting snow on north side of it here, and that this town stores its snow next to it. So I have quite a few photos and things we could scroll through that were in the application. I walked the neighborhood and have taken photos over the past month or two. If there's any questions or interest in looking at that, I know you're
Well,
familiar with the neighborhood.
I'm looking at, I mean, I've looked at some of the photos. What year is that car? 30 something?
Yeah, it's probably 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. It's old.
Okay, and of course, that's what you're speaking of, the history. How many feet
4
is it from the setback?
4'1" to the wall.
So we're 11 inches short of
5 feet
compliance.
is required and everyone's like, look, this is in the code, 5 feet or less. I was like, I understand what it's all about. And trying to be a good neighbor, but this is just a somewhat unique, in my understanding, situation where the use in the winter of storing snow is what we're going to be looking at, and I think it makes a lot more sense for us to do the same. So we would rather not put snow clips on the roof and have it shoveled
Well, they,
on an ongoing basis.
for a contributing house, they do look probably slightly better and less interruptive than big avalanche bars, but I don't think I have any questions.
I have a comment.
Oh, please come on up, Alan, and just read your name in the mic there.
You just mentioned, the unsightliness of whatever we're gonna put up there, the snow bars. You have to generally put 2 rows of snow bars,
Yeah.
full length of. And the unsightliness of what we would have to use here are called mushroom stops. And do you have a picture of the south roof?
I know what those are, though.
Okay, they're 5 to 6 inches.
That's
in
bad
diameter.
news.
And they
Yeah.
clip onto the standing seam. We have to put 70 of them up there.
Jesus. Not on a
So,
contributing
and then
house.
the other part of it is, if you do retain the snow on the roof, it will eventually get shoveled out into the right of way anyhow, so it's makes no sense.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
comments. Any public comment?
No public. Well, we have a woman named Rachel that,
She's works with Peter.
okay.
Oh, well, yeah, she's not allowed. Okay. Well, Erica's interpretation is correct of the design guidelines. And I'm here to weigh out an 11-inch deficit on a full contributing historic house, for which, as a history, since it wasn't, this addition wasn't, or this area wasn't moved forward or backwards, and they're 11 inches short of compliance, and there is no sidewalk, and I do walk around town a lot, and I just happen to know the snow is 5 and sometimes 7 foot deep here on this shoulder in the winter. You know, and I'm very always, concerned about safety, as I know Erica was, and was part of the reason that this guideline reads as it does. And I didn't come here with a preconceived opinion, as you can see. I'm on the fence. So just give me a moment. And so we're 11 inches short deficit. We don't have anything that moved and infringed closer, because if it had moved closer, then I think definitely I would have gone with this. And I'm going to say that in the deliberations, if this was not a full-on contributing house, I would have to, I believe, whether it's pragmatic or not, probably, comply with the guidelines for any other type of structure, just a regular home. So, a lot of people on the street or sometimes on the chairlift ask me how pragmatic HARC is. And in this case, because it's full contributing, because we didn't change the structure, because of the historic tradition of snowfall, and because we're 10.5 to 11 inches short, I'm gonna have to say I don't like seeing these clips on a full house. It's not that I don't like, but I think that aesthetically on a contributing house, they are on contributing houses, but if you don't have to, in this case, I think with that tradition and 11-inch deficit, I don't think it's a problem. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the CA amendment number 3 at 236 North Fur, lot 14, block 24, town of Telluride, based on the findings in the staff memo and applicant presentation of this date, February 21st, 2025. This motion is based on evidence and testimony provided at a public hearing held on February 21st, 2025, with notice such hearing provided as required by the Red Land Use Code. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Erica, and you have a
Yeah,
good
of
one.
course.
Okay,
All right.
and we'll adjourn at 9:16 for the record with 3 cases,
Thank you.
Thank you.
5.1 minutes each.
Now everybody can go to school.
What it should be.